So Todd and I are going to say a few words, and then we're going to open it up, totally voluntary, if anybody has something they'd like to share, stories that we don't know about, you might want to talk about, we're totally open to that. After we're done, then we're going to open it up for lunch. We have some sandwiches, salads, some desserts, and one of our special desserts we have today, we have some Nutty Buddies. Right?
Yeah.
So some of you know what that means. Group of friends here, kind of known as the Nutty Buddies. And we thought it was fitting that we have that for you as well. So along with the cookies, there's a note, you can find them in the freezer. And louder. Is that good? Can you hear me? All right. So anyway, I think that's about it. I guess without further ado, we'll see if we can get through this. Thanks for coming.
All right, thanks, Trina. I want to thank everybody for coming today. I want to thank the Springs for letting us use this space, and I'm sure Mom would be getting all choked up seeing everyone here to celebrate her. She always enjoyed getting attention. If anybody would like to say something about Mom, there will be a chance at the end. I think Trina might have mentioned that. For anybody that doesn't know, I'm Todd, I'm her son. And I just want to give you a little bit of a timeline of Mom's 84-year life in just a few minutes, if that's even possible. Mom was born June 22nd, 1935 in Denver, Colorado, and had one older sister. Her mom was cheerful and consumed by writing, mainly poetry, and that is probably where Mom got her artistic talent. Later on, she would develop a hobby of painting. So, her dad was a pharmacist and had a shop at a soda fountain in downtown Denver. Mom had fond memories of being a young girl during World War II and seeing the troops coming into the shop for ice cream or soda pop when they got off to go by train. As a teenager, she learned the ukulele and performed for whatever audience she could find. She also did her own version of what would eventually come to be known as karaoke. Before too long, though, she gave up performing, and let me change pages here, sorry.
Do you want me to take something tough?
This isn't working very well.
Can you take one?
I'm good.
Okay.
Sorry, I did a public speaking engagement here a while back and tried to just go from the heart, and it didn't work so well, so I had to write this one down. Let's see. Where was I? Let's see, before too long she gave up performing and bought a 1952 MG convertible, pictured right up here by the wall. I know anybody at the Springs here has seen that picture many times. For any of you living here at the Springs, you know the car well from the picture that was hanging by her door. She loved that car and had many memories of driving it up into the Rockies with her friends. One of Mom's friends lived in Portland and convinced her to come out for a visit. I think her friend had a plan in mind because that's when Mom met a hunky guy named Rich. He had a ski boat on the Columbia River and liked to party as much as Mom did. And as most of you know, Mom never quit partying. She hit it off pretty well and with Dad, and they promptly went back to Colorado, or she went back to Colorado and sold her MG so she could move back here to Portland to be with Rich. Mom felt terrible for breaking her mother's heart by moving away, and she would forever kick herself for selling that car. After a bit of time in Portland, they got married in Vancouver because Dad was a tightwad and it was the cheapest place to get married. Later on, they would have a big ceremony back in Denver. So. Anyway, they then decided to move back to Colorado, try to make a living out there, and it didn't work out. And that's where Trina and I ended up. After a few years, Dad had an offer to be a partner in a concrete business back here in Portland. Mom and Dad loaded Trina and I in their 55 Chevy and U-Haul trailer full of stuff and headed back to Portland. Mom kept a journal of that trip, and I want to share a few fun excerpts from that. She called this, "Start Bloomin' Roses, Here We Come." Tuesday, May 5th, 1966. Weather is still good. Todd was real impressed with the tractors and road equipment. Trina spent better than 2 hours working on her stickered phone book that we bought in Little America. Todd napped. Sure is fun holding Todd on my lap while he sleeps, trying to pour a cup of water for Rich and helping Trina punch out some stickers. But they have been good travelers, and that helps. Just a little fighting and whining. Came to a flock of sheep. Had to stop and then go slow, pushing our way through. Trina and I were banging on the side of the car to scare them off. The horn quit working for a while. Trina said, "That's okay, Daddy. Just drive with one hand and slap the side of the car with the other hand." Pretty smart kid. And now we're in Idaho. Prettier already. Trina's starting to get titty-witty. She sure hasn't been eating good the last couple of days. Todd does, though. And I still do. Now I'm really bitchy. The afternoon sun is baking us. The kids are wrestling. And I'm feeling nasty because I just remembered I forgot to take all the spices out of the kitchen stove. Damn shit hell. It's 85 outside and 185 inside. Stopped in Bliss for the night. It's far from bliss, more like hell. All set to take showers and no hot water. What a joint. Rich is trying to figure out how to open a bottle of pop so he can mix a drink. So a couple days later, we arrived in Portland, and that was the start of our next chapter as a family. And we never left, except for family vacations back to Colorado. After growing up there in Colorado, she came to love the Oregon, and especially the coast, and we spent a lot of time on the coast as a family. In 1969, Mom and Dad bought some property out in Carver with an amazing view of the Cascades and Mount Hood. There's a picture of Mount Hood on the table back here. Dad built a modest 3-bedroom house, so that is where Trina and I would grow up. Dad started his own construction company, and Mom took care of the books. Years later, she was proud of how well she did at that. About that same time, they put in a swimming pool where we had many neighborhood pool parties with family and friends. After Trina and I got into high school, there just may have been some pool parties Mom and Dad didn't know about, and they were home for the weekend. The pool stood until grandkids came along, and even more memories were made. Mom and Dad were really social. They played in bowling leagues, were members of the Elks Club, and they loved listening to live music. They joined the Oregon City Dixieland Jazz Society in the 1980s, where they made a lot of friends and had great times for many years. They also started golfing and took many golf vacations around the state. Mom liked to play in the ladies group at Sahalee Golf Course in Clackamas, and she loved having the putting green right outside her door here at the Springs. The house in Carver eventually got too much for Dad to take care of, so they sold it and moved in closer to town into a 55 and over complex here in Oak Grove, where they lived for several years. Dad's health started declining, and they had to stay a little more cooped up in their apartment more than they wanted, and their social life pretty much came to an end. Within a couple of years, Dad passed away, and Mom needed to find a new way of living. We shopped around at some senior living places and got discouraged at what we were finding. Then we toured the Springs and found that they had a vacant unit with southern exposure right on the putting green. We instantly knew it was perfect for Mom, and we couldn't write a check fast enough. She was super scared to make the move to here, to the Springs, but she knew it was what she needed. Within just a couple of days, she was out making new friends, and once again felt like she had the social life that had slowly disappeared over the last few years. She quickly came to love the Springs and everyone here, including the staff. The picture of her MG in the hall outside her door became a magnet for potential residents on a tour. She would hear the excitement outside of her door, and she loved to pop her head out and tell people how happy she was here. Mom tried to participate in as many activities as she could. That included putting tournaments. Oops. That included putting tournaments, wee bowling, outings, and happy hour in the pub. She refused to be caught staying cooped up in her apartment. Mom eventually started hanging with a particular group of ladies who named themselves the Nutty Buddies, as Trina mentioned, after the ice cream cones served once a week for dessert. I think most of them here are here today. I think mostly at the front table here. And I want to give you a special thanks for being such a good friend to Mom. these past few years meant the world to Mom because of your care and friendship. Sorry. As Trina mentioned, to celebrate that friendship, the Springs has provided us with a large supply of Nutty Buddies to share with all of you back in the food there. And in honor of the party girl, the family would like to buy you a drink at the bar, so please help yourself to a beer or a glass of wine. And now I'll turn it over to Trina to say a few words.
Thanks, Todd. So we work really well as a family until Todd's really prepared, and I have one page. We didn't work on our speeches together, but I think we have some overriding themes, so here's some repetition. But it's maybe from my point of view, a little bit different. Some of it's worth repeating, so just be understanding with that as well. Really want to thank everyone that's here. There's some faces that we knew would be here, that would be here to support us, and we certainly appreciate that. And there are people here that I had no idea would be here, so those are some of the really special surprises as well. Really want to thank the Springs. It's been a critical and super supportive part of Mom's life. She's made a lot of really wonderful friends here. Also like to thank the Feathered Nest. Although Mom was only there for 1 week, it was an amazing experience for her as well as the family. So if the need arises, I would definitely give them a call, the Feathered Nest. They're over here off Rocky Road. We have a couple of those folks here today as well. So I thank you very much for your support and love of Mom. They're very loving and caring when it comes time to passing. They've seen it, they know what to do, and they helped guide us through that piece, so we really appreciate it. Lighter note, I'd like to also thank our catering today is Gigi's Deli, which a lot of you are familiar with, saw a billboard the other day. It's 50 years they've been doing business, so probably we've all eaten there at one point or another. See you, Janet. Hi. Janet and I went to grade school together. We have some naughty stories we can go way back with. Janet's parents were here also, so I appreciate her being here today. So back to Gigi's. They catered Dad's memorial as well, and they do an amazing job. One of the reasons that we picked them is that was a place that Mom and Dad enjoyed eating, and it's a place ever since I was in my early 20s, Mom and I would go have lunch. So that was my first experience eating a Monte Cristo. Seems like it seems like a silly memory, but it's just one of those things that I cannot eat a Monte Cristo without thinking about my mom. So we're really happy to have Gigi's here and supply all the food. So once we're done, you can go enjoy it yourself. So Mom passed away. She was surrounded by family, and as Todd mentioned, Mom, hopefully looking down as she was passing, was enjoying the moment because she was surrounded by her family, and she never wanted to miss a party, so she definitely would have wanted to have been surrounded by all of us, I do believe. So we're fortunate that we have a family that is able to be there and be a part of that for her, which is really, really wonderful. As we were preparing for the service today, we wanted it to be happy. In fact, when I was buying the flowers and the ribbons and all the items, I went to the checkout stand and the lady said, "Oh, are you getting ready for a wedding?" And I said, "Actually, a celebration of life, but I appreciate the vibe." So that was really nice. You know, Mom always wore her fuchsia pink clothing, and so we wanted everything to be bright and cheerful. That's why I decided to wear something bright, and I see a lot of the ladies are wearing pink as well. So I think that's something Mom would really think was pretty cool. She was the fun mom. Can I just say, you guys know her as an something old lady, but that lady had spunk. She was a tomboy growing up, as we hear stories about her past, and she, along with Mary, formerly Sickman, were the fun moms. When we would go do things in groups with parents, Mary and Mom were the ones that would go down the water slides or play the baseball games, play the games that the other moms wouldn't and sit on the sideline. She would jump in. So if I can aspire to be like that, that's a pretty cool trait. She was a stay-at-home for most of our lives, which was really fortunate. Dad wanted to be the provider, and he was. When I was in middle school, she did go to work for a couple of years, and one of her great claims to participation with the household money was that she bought our swimming pool, which became kind of the magnet for all the parties that took place during our school years. So we had many baseball parties, Friday night grill parties. So she was really integral in making that connection for a lot of us, and we certainly appreciate that. Todd mentioned the house that he had built, so that was built by Uncle Dave. A lot of that family is here today as well. And Floyd Herndon and Dad built that house, so we have a lot of memories with our family putting that together. It was a modest home, well built, had an amazing view, 180 degrees of the Cascade Range, with Mount Hood staring straight at you. So the sun would rise straight over us, and they'd have fun watching all the airplane jet streams going north and south, watching the contrails. Dad built the deck really low, so if you were sitting on the east-facing deck, the railing was rather low. Below that were bird cages, or bird feeders, rather, filled with birdseed. I think they went through birdseed like you would a large dog. And it was, if we had YouTube back in the day, they definitely would be, they'd have some feature on. It was not uncommon to have a minimum of 12 birds at a time, and hummingbirds. And you had to warn people when they came over to visit to just hold still, because you undoubtedly have hummingbirds coming, and they'd just be here, and then they'd be off. But it was, we would have a flock, literally a flock of birds. And I used to kind of roll my eyes like, oh yeah, there's the birds. Didn't really realize how cool it was until I started getting my own bird feeders, and I'm like, why do I not have as many birds as I have? So it's a pretty cool thing. So I have some of Mom's feeders, so I'm looking forward to putting those side mine, and I'm hoping that some of that bird love will come forward. I will never see a yellow finch or a hummingbird without thinking of her, as was evident on most of her sweatshirts. Oh, let's see, what else can we do? DIY. Both Mom and Dad instilled a pretty good grounding for DIY work. I think both Todd and I were pretty handy at most things, and we attribute a lot of those skills that we received from both Mom and Dad. There was no such thing as Home Depot. It was whatever was in Dad's garage. So we learned how to do woodworking and that kind of thing. We just had to jerry rig it. What I did learn from Mom was how to sew. Right, Mary? And I learned to sew early, quickly, and very well. So I appreciate that. I got A's in my sewing classes and home ec from my mom. We weren't able to go to Learners and Pennies like some of the other kids on a regular basis to buy our clothes. But Mom said if I would sew my clothes, she would happily take me up to the fabric store to get patterns and fabric, and I could, as soon as I had something done, she would take me. So I think she began to regret it, because I would sew one outfit and then sew another and sew another and sew another. So I became pretty good at it. So I do appreciate that from my mom. I learned some basic cooking skills. Mom was not known for her cooking. You've been to her potlucks before. It's one of the things she loved about the Springs. She didn't have to do anything except order roast beef. In fact, I think you should rename it. Right? As Todd mentioned, they belong to many groups, golf groups. Mom was with the women's group, Dad with the men's. They love their Dixieland jazz music. Did a lot of vacations with that group of folks, and that involved a lot of parties and dancing and a lot of good times, really happy music. One of the things that I do appreciate about my mom that I will take with me, I don't think she was trying to make it a life lesson, but she was more about the experiences than things. And I really appreciate that. I think sometimes you can get caught up in objects, and there were a few memorabilia things that my mom really liked. They weren't necessarily things with dollars attached to them. They had sentimental value, which is really cool. But Mom was really liked to be out doing the experience or visiting with friends versus concentrating on whatever the next great Elmo is out there. So I'd just really like to say we appreciate all of you, however you knew Mom. She was extraordinary to us. I used to call us the Norman Rockwell family because we were like ordinary and boring. I'd say it as growing up like it was a bad thing, but what I realized is we had the very best family we could ever have. An amazing father, mother. Both my parents loved each other very much. And I have one brother. We get along really well, really fortunate there. And our extending families. Mom and Dad have 5 grandchildren, all of whom are here today. They were super proud that they have 5 amazing grandkids that have graduated college and gone on to do things that you hope your kids do. So they're getting launched right now. So was really a very touching for them. They liked being around the grandkids and going to all of their events. So I guess the takeaway, guys, I don't have my organized speech. Just want to say, if there's any takeaway of the things that I want to cherish about this, is if you have an opportunity, sign up for the events, go on the trips, accept the invitations for dinner, and by all means, go to the party. Thank you, guys. Anybody want to say something?
When your mother lived in Denver, she never went up to Pikes Peak or come down. And I was down there once and I went up there. We used to laugh about it. I said, you only go up once and come down.
Right?
It was horrible.
That's a way up there, isn't it? Yeah, on a long, windy
Have
road.
you been up there?
Yes, but the roads are bigger and paved now, so it's a little easier. Can I pass the mic, or does anybody want to just be where they're at and feel free to say something? Can I pass the mic?
Can I say something?
Of course, my dear. You can sit or stand, whatever you want to do. Okay, don't fall.
Well, I'm one of the Nutty Buddies, and I tell you, we have a lot of fun. Halloween especially.
Yes.
First year Barb is here, we were dominoes.
Yes.
6 of us were dominoes, she was number 1, and the rest of us down the line. Last year, hippies, and we had just as much fun. Hippies last year, old hippies, but nevertheless, we had a lot of fun. We're going to miss Barb.
What are the compliments?
We're all going to miss Barb.
Thank you.
I will say something. My name's Karen, and Teresa Stegmiller is my mom. She's also one of the Nutty Buddies. And I just want to say that Barb was such a funny person, and so kind. And one of my mom's really good friends, and we're going to miss her too.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mary.
I would just like to say that Barb and I raised our families together. I've known the Sonflieths for probably about 52 years. And all the time raising our children together, we spent a lot of time together in the pool, at the baseball game, at the jazz music, camping, toast. We just did everything together for years. But I do want to say one thing, that all the time we were really concerned about how our children were growing up. And I know that she was so proud of you too, that you've just done a remarkable job, and you surpassed all of her expectations. And that in itself, that was a tough road, right?
I can stop now.
And I know how much she loved you. I had took her out for lunch a couple years ago and went for a ride, and we talked about all the things that we wanted to do and that you have done in your life. And she was so proud of you.
Thanks,
And
Marie.
I love Barb. She was my best friend for years and years.
Definitely. Thank
Yeah,
you.
We had a lot of great times as
Yeah.
our families were growing
Yep.
up.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else?
My name is Mark. I used to be a driver here at the spring, and I was fortunate enough to take her in the game on trips. And she was always, if she wasn't number one, she was in the top 5 for signing up to go out on an activity. No matter where, dinner, down to the beach, or whatever. She's always number 1 to 5. She's a lot of fun to be around. Great lady.
Thank you.
No.
See if I can get the mic to you. It's on.
I first met Barbara and Rich in the 1990s. My husband and I went out to the golf course to play golf, and there they were. We played golf with them for many, many years, and we had a ball. Every week was so much fun. Every Wednesday I look forward to playing with her in the women's group. And we just had so much fun together. We never took golf too seriously. We had a great time. And then we lost contact with each other. I first lost my husband, and then she lost Britt. And I came to the Springs to check it out. And lo and behold, somebody called, B. I turned around, and here was Barbara. I didn't know she was living here. And
Oh
we
my
became
gosh.
good friends
Isn't that
again
crazy?
after all those years.
That's so
I
cool.
miss it so much.
Thank you. That's very nice. You want to say something, Tim?
Oh, I'm another one of the nutty buddies. And I guess the thing I always marveled at Barbara is she was always with the conversation. She'd sit there and we'd be talking about something, and sooner or later she'd come in with a zinger that was right on the button. I mean, she tracked every conversation, and it was just a marvel. And it was so wonderful.
Thank you.
I will say that, Mom had quite a few health issues as time went on, but we always said hearing was not one of her problems. At family gatherings, there's nothing we could say without Mom.
That's good.
All right. Anybody else? All right. Misty?
I just remember that my Aunt Barbara going to her house, I think my brother and sister and I all do, and loving that house and the sunken living room and the big box of Legos. And when my dad passed away, both Rich and Barb were so great to my mom and helping her get reestablished, and grateful for that. But mostly what I remember is just Aunt Barbara had this, she was just so witty, just this wicked, witty sense of humor. And that's how I remember.
Your mom too, right? Oh yeah. She could fire right back.
Yeah, exactly.
Anybody? Well, we we want to continue the conversation, maybe just not with the microphone. So we welcome. You want to say something, Casey?
Yeah.
Neat.
Hello everyone, I first met my grandma when I was in January of '89. I don't really remember her much, but what I do remember is long back when I was really young, she would always take care of us during the days, take us on outings after daycare or after preschool.
She was the
really.
daycare.
Yeah, she was daycare, but after preschool she would come pick us up. And to this day, I think she's one of the main reasons why I'm so terrified of geese. I remember taking bread and going to feed ducks. Well, the geese were there too, and they would chase us away from everything. So, but I think that's one of my favorite memories, that she was always willing to take us out and be adventurous, and one of the main reasons why I also love music too. Although I don't play any instruments, like my other cousins do. But that's all I wanted to really say. And I'm Casey, by the way, if you know, no one knows me.
All right. All right. Going once, going twice. All right. Like I said before, the bar is on Mom's tab today, so help yourself there. And there's all kinds of food and everything to eat back there. And don't forget your Nutty Buddies in the freezer. Okay, so, all right. Anything else, Trina?
No, just we'll visit with everybody. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for coming. We really appreciate it.